Red Star here after a long absence. Although this video is not me really coming back, it's a small rant about things I have been seeing in the roleplay scene in a lot of places, like Roblox and even Wolf Quest and other roleplay type games. Talking about the experienced and inexperienced roleplayer problems that I keep seeing. Now, I'm somebody who has roughly 13 years of roleplay experience. I started as illiterate. I believe most of, if not all of us, roleplayers started at that point, being illiterate or inexperienced because it was a new thing, so trying things out, learning how to do it. And then over time, we get better and better. But I've noticed a very disturbing trend, and I'm by far not the first person to talk about this issue. But it is regarding the fact that inexperienced roleplayers seem to keep getting shunned from roleplays. And it's not healthy for the roleplay scene if this keeps happening. Because if you keep shunning people from it just because of their style, then they're not going to learn, they're not going to get better, and then eventually they're just not going to want to do it. Because they feel so discouraged. Now, even though, like I said, I have 13 years of experience, and I can be considered illiterate, if I really wanted to be, my personal comfort zone when it comes to roleplaying is a roughly like semi-literate to literate. Not too long, not too short, but still like descriptive enough. And I don't often like using like more advanced words or alternate words for things like the tail, ears, or eyes. Anyway, that's not really the point here. My point is that I keep seeing experienced roleplayers shutting inexperienced roleplayers out of their roleplays. Now, while I understand the frustrations with illiterate or inexperienced roleplayers, shutting them out is not the right way to go about this. Because they're not going to want to do it eventually. Now, I think it'd be much better if some more experienced roleplayers started helping teach and guide more the inexperienced roleplayers, like to learn how to do it. Explain styles and whatnot. Why those styles maybe would be a little bit better. But just because of just because they roleplay a certain way, that does not make them a bad roleplayer. Of course, there's exceptions, and sadly, those exceptions are the ones that give inexperienced roleplayers the bad rep. Like roleplayers like overpowered type roleplayers, like roleplayers like, I don't know, if in fandom spaces and whatnot, giving their character every single type of rare trait or a large amount of them, or even making them invincible or godlike. Yeah, those ones I don't mind kicking out, but like, one thing I think that we all should be doing is at least giving inexperienced roleplayers like a chance. Give them a chance to join the roleplay just because of the style they roleplay in. That doesn't make them bad. It doesn't make them bad at it. Like, the exceptions, like overpowered roleplayers, godlike roleplayers, or whatever. Yeah, even I hate those. I hate those kinds of roleplayers. I always have rules in my roleplays to keep those kinds of people out. Because in my opinion, those kinds of role players ruin the roleplay experience for everyone. I like role-playing in a semi-realistic style. Keeps things interesting. But it's not okay to keep shunning inexperienced role players just because of like the styles and whatnot. It'd be better to guide them. It'd be better to teach them how to do it. Because at the rate things are going, the roleplay scene is going to end up drying up. Because all of us are getting older, we're eventually going to grow out of these things ourselves. And without new people coming in to keep it going, it's going to fizzle out eventually. I hate the idea of gatekeeping roleplays. It's fine to set rules, but gatekeeping, pretty much for like experienced role players only, that isn't okay. Please, I beg, help teach newer role players how to roleplay properly, so they can get an enjoyable experience out of it too. Yeah, I get it. It probably can be. It's definitely a bit disruptive, but just flat out shutting people out for their styles and whatnot, or because they don't know anything of what they're doing, that's not okay. Teach and guide. That's all I want to see. I don't want to be the only person doing this. I'm not somebody who hosts roleplays very often either, because I personally don't know how well I do as a host sometimes. I can have roleplays that are very short, or I can end up having roleplays that last hours. But this has become a huge problem in a lot of roleplay games across like the internet. It's not just these kinds of games, it's pretty much everywhere. It breaks my heart to see these people like pushed out. It's not fair to them. Simple as that. It is not fair. They'll kind of associate role-playing with a bunch of people being basically assholes. So please, again, I say, teach them, give them proper examples, explain how a style could work better for them. But even then, at the end of the day, you can't force people to change their roleplay styles. It doesn't make them a bad role player just because they roleplay a certain way. The kinds that disregard rules and all that, yeah, those ones I don't mind kicking out or voiding from roleplays because they'll ruin the experience just because they seem to want to be the center of attention. It'll ruin the experience for everyone. I think it's fine to kick those kinds out. But just to kick people out for just the way they roleplay, that's not okay. That's basically all I have to say. Thank you for listening to my full rant if you got this far. I'm not gonna say subscribe because I rarely post anything anymore, and anything I do post is mainly unlisted anymore. Mainly for archival purposes, for getting space back on devices, but other than that, content from me is pretty rare, so I'm not gonna say subscribe. I don't think I'm gonna deliver, and I don't really think I'm that entertaining. Despite me having done this for several years, I don't think I'm really that entertaining. But if you made it this far, thanks for watching. Might see you again. Personally, I'm debating starting a Wolf Quest series again. Not sure about that. Anyways, bye.